Okay, when you think about winter and all the damage it can do to your house, I'm willing to bet there's one very specific, very wet, and very expensive disaster that pops into your head right away. Yup, that's the one. The classic, dreaded burst pipe. It's like a homeowner's nightmare, right? We've all heard those horror stories, the flooding, the damage, the insane repair bills. But here's the twist. While we're all, laser focused on what's going on inside our walls, the real, serious damage, the most destructive stuff, is happening silently, where we can't even see it. It's attacking your home from both the top and the bottom. And believe me, this isn't some super rare thing. A new study just dropped a bombshell statistic. 1 out of every 4 homes in the US is at risk from major climate threats, like floods and high winds. And winter? Oh yeah, winter is a huge piece of that puzzle. All right, so let's get into it. We're going to start at the very top, your roof. I mean, it's your home's first line of defense, and it takes an absolute beating all winter long. So the most obvious bad guy here is just the sheer weight of snow. You see a foot of that light, fluffy stuff and think, oh, how pretty. But it's not the fluffiness that's the problem. It's the weight, especially when that snow gets wet and heavy. That's what puts an insane amount of stress on your roof. Oh, but it gets so much worse. Picture this. You've got a blanket of snow on your roof, and then it starts to rain. That snow just acts like a giant sponge. It soaks up every drop of that rain, making it dramatically heavier. Experts literally call this a recipe for disaster, and it's especially dangerous for older houses. But it's not just about the weight. Nope. There's a much sneakier enemy at play here, and it's called an ice dam. The easiest way to think about it is like a frozen clog, like in your gutters. Except this one forms right on the edge of your roof. And trust me, it's way more dangerous. And here's the really crazy part. Your own house is kind of working against you here. See, the heat from inside your home escapes through the attic and melts the snow on the top of your roof. That water trickles down to the freezing cold edge and, boom, it refreezes. Now you've got this ridge of ice, a dam, and all that water melting behind it, it's trapped. It's got nowhere to go except, you guessed it, under your shingles. And that means leaks, rot, and mold inside your attic and walls. Okay, so we've talked about the top of the house. Now let's go all the way down to the bottom, to the most hidden threat of all, the stuff that's happening silently right under your feet. This is where the truly catastrophic and crazy expensive damage can happen, and you won't see a single thing until it's a massive problem. So the big bad here has a fancy, scientific-sounding name, hydrostatic pressure. Don't worry, the idea is actually really simple. Just imagine all the soil around your house getting totally soaked with melted snow and rain. The weight of all that water in the ground creates this incredible pressure that literally pushes and squeezes against your foundation. But it's not just the water. As one expert points out, the real kicker is when all that moisture in the soil freezes. We all know water expands when it freezes, right? Well, that expansion multiplies the force against your foundation. It's literally pushing inward on your basement walls, threatening the entire structure of your home. And this is what kicks off this just relentless, destructive cycle. So a little bit of water seeps into a tiny hairline crack in your foundation. Then overnight, the temperature drops, it freezes, and it expands, acting like a little wedge, forcing that crack just a bit wider. The next day, it thaws out, and now that bigger crack can suck in even more water. And the cycle repeats again and again all winter, turning a tiny little flaw into a massive failure. Okay, so with all this invisible stuff happening, how in the world are you supposed to know if it's happening to you? Well, it might feel hidden, but your house will actually start sending you warning signs. It'll tell you what's going on. You just have to know how to listen and what to look for. And here's the really crucial thing. A lot of these signs are things you might just ignore, chalk it up to the house just settling. But things like doors or windows that suddenly start sticking or new cracks showing up in the drywall or brick outside, even things like squeaky floors, cracking tiles, or your wood floors starting to pull apart, these aren't just little cosmetic issues. They could be huge red flags that your foundation is in trouble. Look, a single squeaky floorboard probably isn't a reason to panic. But the experts are all on the same page here. If you start noticing a bunch of these things happening at once, that's a really strong signal that there's a bigger underlying problem that you absolutely need to get checked out. Okay, I know that was all a little doom and gloom, but here's the good news. You are not helpless here. You're not just at the mercy of winter. There are absolutely things you can do to fight back and protect your home. So let's talk about your defense plan. Think of this as your winter prep playbook. A lot of it starts outside. Simple stuff like cleaning out your gutters so water flows away from your house. And of course, the classic stuff to prevent burst pipes, disconnect your garden hoses, and make sure any pipes in cold places like a basement or garage are insulated. Inside, simple things make a world of difference, like just keeping your thermostat set consistently above 65. Oh, and don't forget to look up. Check out any big trees near your house for signs of rot, because a heavy snow or ice storm could bring a weak branch right down on your roof. Now, being prepared is your #1 weapon, but it's just as crucial to know your own limits. When you're dealing with serious issues, especially with water or your foundation, a quick DIY fix can sometimes do more harm than good. You might just be covering up a much bigger problem. And really, this gets to the core of it. A DIY fix, a lot of the time, is just a Band-Aid. It doesn't actually solve the root cause of the problem, like all that pressure pushing on your walls. A professional, on the other hand, their whole job is to find and fix that underlying issue for good, so you know your foundation is actually solid and secure. At the end of the day, we're talking about the very bones of your house. So calling in a certified professional isn't just about fixing one thing. It's about getting a total health checkup for your home. And honestly, it's about getting that peace of mind, knowing that the place you live is safe and sound. So as winter rolls around again, just remember, everything in your home is connected. A little issue with the roof can turn into a big issue with the foundation, and that can cause problems all over. So I'll leave you with this question. What's the one part of your home's winter defense plan that you've been overlooking?